Rosberg, and you've seen, I'm sure, as Rosberg lapped Pierluigi Martini, the young Italian in the Minardi, you've seen that Rosberg is easing away from Ayrton Senna. There's now a 5-second gap. There is Senna in second position. Prost behind him in third place, but not in sight of the Brazilian yet.
Yes, and look at Senna's right front tyre. It looks a little bit marked. And I have a feeling that Senna might be in a little bit of tyre trouble. It looks like he may have a blister. Look at the middle of the tread on the right front tyre. It should be shiny right the way across, and it's not. So Senna, that would explain why Senna was climbing all over the back of Rosberg for a bit and then started to drop back. He's got a little bit of a problem with his tyres. And Alan Jones is in fact catching Niki Lauda, so he must be very pleased indeed. This is far away the best showing, and I'm not sure that Rosberg's tyres look that healthy to me when we get a close look at him. And his right-hand side tyres look to be a little bit grainy. It certainly seems that there's been unexpected amount of tyre trouble already in this race.
5.5 seconds between the race leader, and there is Nelson Piquet out of the Australian Grand Prix. Nelson Piquet has finished his last race for Brabham on foot. And Rosberg, that you're looking at, leads Senna by 5.5 seconds now. Prost in third place, Sura fourth, De Angelis will be coming into the pits, which will put Lauda up to fifth position, and Alan Jones into the World Championship points for the first time since he retired. There is Alan Jones starting another lap, and I'm waiting now to see Elio De Angelis. The black flag is still being readied for him in case he missed it on the previous lap, but Sura goes through. De Angelis now in fifth position, Lauda is sixth, Jones is seventh, but that's still allowing for De Angelis being in fifth place. But into the pits now comes Pier Carlo Ghinzani, the Italian in the Toleman, for a new set of Pirelli tyres. The pneumatic hammers go for it, the wheels and tyres go on, the jack is away, and that was a very good pit stop by the Toleman team. Ghinzani sprints out of the pits, and on lap 17, with a long way to go, it is still Keke Rosberg. He's got a 5.5 second cushion now over Senna, and look at this, Tambay with one of the Ligiers in front of him. French driver in the Renault chasing a French driver in the Ligier, and the French driver is either Jacques Lafitte or Philippe Streff. Straight past him goes Tambay. Tambay now has got ahead of him. He's passed him as Philippe Streff, and now Tambay is catching Alboreto in the Ferrari.
Well, that was a marvellous view of an overtake, of an outbraking manoeuvre. Tambay was closing on him on the straight, got himself into position, went for the inside and jumped him. There they are, of course, looking at them from outside. Now back inside Patrick's car, and he is chasing Alboreto now, I think. Trying to recognise that back view, because the lens has got a little bit dirty, but the technical problem has been much improved at Brands Hatch. The last time it was used, it is Alboreto in front of him. He went a bit wide. Now that was a mistake from Tambay. He didn't make the apex of the corner. He would have lost a little bit of grip, a little bit of time. But he is going quite well. Further up the field, Alain Prost is keeping the gap almost exactly the same all the time with Keke Rosberg, so they're lapping at very similar times, but he is some 14 seconds behind him, so he's going to have to start eating into that a bit. They're holding each other.
And all the time, Keke Rosberg, that you're looking at on lap 19, is easing away from Senna. The gap is now 6.5 seconds, and unless something happens to the Finns Williams Honda, it looks as though he's built up enough of a cushion, particularly bearing in mind the fact that we're worried about whether or not Senna's carbon brakes will go the distance. But now Sura, with the disappearance of his teammate Nelson Piquet, is charging. He is up to third position. You look at Rosberg, who is leading in the Williams Honda. You know that Senna is some 6.5 seconds behind him. I will tell you that Mark Surer in the Brabham BMW is ahead of Prost, who therefore goes down to 4th position. And I haven't seen Elio De Angelis at all. He's either having a fit of sulks and hiding round the back of the circuit somewhere, or has broken down because they're still waiting to show him the checkered flag. But I suspect he is just quietly bumbling round to avoid walking back to the pits in this 30-degree heat. There's Lauda, well up into the points now.
Yes, Surer going so well under the front of the sack is past Prost, and the pair of them are catching Ayrton Senna.
Ayrton Senna has just gone past the pits in 2nd position, and I've got a stopwatch running on Mark Surer, who's in 3rd place, and note this, the gap between Senna 2nd and Surer 3rd is 8 seconds, and it was some 9 seconds. So Surer in 3rd place is catching the man you're looking at, and there is De Angelis into the pits.
Yes, and he's been a naughty boy because he's been 4 laps. He stayed out there with ignoring the black flag, and I strongly suspect he's heaping a little bit of trouble on his own head. So there may be a big naughty boy affair for De Angelis, and I do sympathise with him.
Out of the car he gets. Now, I don't know whether that's problems or because he just decides I've had enough. That's it, finish, out. So, Alan Jones now into the pits. What a pity. He was in 7th place. Alan Jones within a whisk. No, he shakes his head sadly. He must be absolutely dejected because it looks as though he feels his race is finished.
Yes, we saw some flames out of the back of the car just now, Murray, when he was going around, and it may be a blown turbo or something like that, I suggest.
Of which he's had a few since he started to make his comeback at Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. And it seems from the rather leisurely atmosphere in the Beatrice pit that all is lost. He's right opposite me as I talk to you. And as you look at Keke Rosberg, I can tell you that the engine cover is off Alan Jones's Beatrice. The mechanics are looking at the back of the car, which tends to confirm, I'm sure, what James has just said. It's likely to be a turbo problem, not a heart engine problem, but a turbo problem. And so now, lap 21, with 61 laps to go. Jones seems to be out. Elio De Angelis is out. Piquet is out. Alboreto has been into the pits. So has Lafitte. Martini has spun off. Martin Brundle has stopped. And Mansell stopped at the beginning of the race.
They've got to cover the rear. The person who's leading things tends to slow people down. And what it means is they're losing ground to Senna and Rosberg in front of them, because of course the pair of them fighting goes slower than if each of them were on their own going flat out with only the speed to concentrate on, because remember they're covering their rears and there are tactics involved.
Now, the Drivers' World Championship is settled. When this race started, the constructors hadn't been. And McLaren, who are currently leading by 10 points from Ferrari, are in a strong position because Alain Prost is 4th, his teammate Niki Lauda is 5th, and Alboreto, the leading Ferrari driver, because Johansson is 12th, Alboreto is in 6th position. So, at the present moment, McLaren are in the position of adding 5 points to their championship level, whereas Alboreto for Ferrari is only going to add 1. And there is no doubt at the moment that McLaren, having got their second Drivers' World Championship in 2 years with Prost and Lauda, the man you're looking at, are well in the running to get their second Constructors' Championship by beating Ferrari again. But now on lap 24 out of 82, Keke Rosberg is leading Ayrton Senna, and you're looking at Ghinzani in the pits. Rosberg leads Senna by 9.5 seconds. Mark Surer is 10 seconds behind Senna, and he's about 1 second ahead of Prost. Niki Lauda is 5th, 17 seconds behind Prost. Alboreto is 6th, Streff 7th, Boutsen 8th, Capelli 9th, Warwick 10th, Berger 11th, and Johansson 12th.
So just looking at another facet, being a street circuit, this race is 193.5 miles, and of course if it takes longer than 2 hours, it will be stopped at 2 hours rather than 82 laps if they have